It's October 11th, 2010. Another Monday. But that doesn't matter so much if you were my age and still in elementary school, long before the times of homework and internships. And all I could think about is what I wanted to be for Halloween this time. I was kinda a TV kid, like I watched an embarrassing amount. That day, I chose Cartoon Network because they were showing some movie I didn't know, but it sounded like a Halloweeny thing. I had no clue what I was getting myself into. Now, Monster House originally came out in 2006. It had a lot of big names behind its production with a budget of $75 million. I'm not gonna try to summarize for this whole video, so here it is real quick. So there's like these three kids, it's like Greg, Rowley, and the Wendy's girl, and they discover that the scary old man across the street is not really the true evil they thought he was, and no adults in the town will believe them after trying to tell them that the house is literally alive. So, after the haunted house finally comes to life and tries to eat everyone in a rampage, they have to team up with their elderly neighbor to stop the housing crisis in an epic final fight before it's too late. I oversimplify, but the plot is not supposed to be too complex. It's a kid's movie at the end of the day. Nothing I have said makes it some masterpiece, and maybe it's not, but it is undeniably special. Not only does it have a weirdly good cast for the time period, dude, they got they got freaking Dave from Alvin and the Chipmunks. Freaking Dave! It has a unique animation style too, but it grows on you. It's kinda like the kidnapper effect, where you just only see this atrocity for so long that you're forced to like it, and you slowly lose the old you to a point where you look in the mirror and you don't like who looks back anymore. Anyway, the themes of the movie are actually pretty deep for a kid's movie. It deals with darker themes: death, obligation, sacrifice, haunting, you know, all the good stuff you see in every Despicable Me movie. But under all the dark Halloween themes, there are underlying messages of compassion, finding your own conclusions, courage, and unlikely friendships. That's the central twist of the movie. Old Man Nevercracker is not the evil grump who hates kids. He was just protecting them. And the preppy class president girl may never have wanted to talk to them outside of the circumstances, but by the end of the movie, they've become great friends. All of this is intertwined with perfect voice acting and dry humor. The entire movie exists in this awkward atmosphere that just kind of works perfectly. The world is only as big as it feels to the kids. Take the arcade scene, for example. It's mostly unnecessary to the plot, but it shows the only other spot in town that matters to them, where this older kid exists that they seek out like this elder, even though they don't know he's kind of a loser. It's just that scale and atmosphere of being a kid, where your comfort zone is small, and it feels like everything revolves around that. And stuff outside of that feels foreign and scary. It's rare to capture that feeling in a movie like this one did. It's kinda just a pleasant reminder of how things used to feel. It's just a time and place thing. Every aspect I mentioned was good and somewhat special by itself, but as a whole, it's irreplaceable. Animation is far from dead, and we have had some of the best animated films ever recently. But it's something about how unafraid this movie is to be kinda scary, or at least dark, while also maintaining the feeling of being a kid, where the world is so interesting and open. It's not a fantasy story either, and it feels genuinely like how we used to interact as kids. Not that fantasy stories are bad. Take Spider-Verse or Puss in Boots, for example. They still have hard-hitting moments and are absolutely great films. But it's not as relatable as the feeling of being a helpless kid who feels like all the adults in their life are not listening to them. The kids are far from superheroes, or on a mythical quest to a faraway realm. In fact, they seem to be somehow the only people that notice their problem. And that fact makes it somehow relatable for a story of a house that likes to eat children. Also, for how much its animation is laughable in some spots, in others, it really is just impressive, and at least it isn't the same style as every single Illumination movie. Like I said, it takes about half the movie to get used to it, but by the final scene, it feels like everything has clicked, and you just sit there like, I get it. They're using motion capture with models and lighting that kind of looks like this fake computer-generated claymation style. Another thing is, it never tries to talk down to kids or make everything slapstick or fart humor. The humor maybe is not some fall out of your chair stuff, but it makes the interactions between characters the focal point. It doesn't constantly shake the keys in front of you to beg for attention.
Jingle, jingle.
It might just be little quips or little dry one-liners that are kind of ironic and funny. It is a kinda scary family movie with humor aimed at adults, a weird yet charming animation style, strangely stacked cast, like why is he here? And dark yet important themes. I think it just took a risk, and we are used to a time where kids' movies don't really do that anymore. It doesn't rely on popular songs and artists for its soundtrack, established and beloved characters, basic animation styles, easy, quick laughs, and a lighthearted time. They put a ton of money into a lot of known actors and motion capture in a time when that was not very common. None of this was necessary, really, but they took a risk for a movie that they knew was gonna be good. It's not some overly test-screened safe slop. It is too scary for younger kids, the humor is really dry, the animation is itself, the whole budget went towards an A-list cast for the side characters, but the story justified all of it. A lot of love was put into this movie, and that was what mattered. Something Hollywood can never really figure out now. The success of a project like this is not in how you make it, it's in how much you love making it.